What's up, nieces and nephews? So, if you're watching this video, then you know that this weekend is San Diego Comic-Con. And you also know that a lot of big news across a lot of different fandoms was dropped in San Diego Comic-Con. But we are going to start our coverage of this weekend first with a movie that we've already got. That is Deadpool and Wolverine. Deadpool and Wolverine is overachieving at the box office right now. It is a rated R film, and it is lighting the box office up like no other rated R film has ever. When I say ever, I mean forever, ever. It has never been done by another rated R film. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our new directors for the big tentpole movies coming out of Marvel, and about a certain somebody making a return visit as a different character. And we're just going to talk about everything that came out of the Marvel side of the San Diego Comic-Con convention stuff, the whole Hall H presentation. We're going to talk about the big shit that came out of that. And in another video, we'll be talking about the other stuff that we learned this weekend. So starting with Marvel, let's go. So we know that Deadpool and Wolverine premiered this weekend. And I went to go see it on Thursday on the preview day. And let me tell you, that place was jam-packed at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, a rated R movie was jam packed. So that kind of gave me an indication of how excited people were to get this movie, to see Deadpool and Wolverine both together on the big screen, especially these two versions of the character, Hugh Jackman, Ryan Reynolds. I enjoyed the movie. Wasn't a big fan of the story, but when you got the action and the cameos that this movie had, it's almost like who cares about the story? But it wasn't like one of my highest rated MCU films. But as far as the enjoyment factor, I had a lot of fun. And apparently, according to the box office, I'm not the only person who had a lot of fun watching Deadpool and Wolverine, because as of these estimations for the weekend, Deadpool and Wolverine is becoming, or has become, the highest R-rated opening of all time, both worldwide and domestic. It has made $438.3 million worldwide, $205 million domestically, and it beat itself, Deadpool, from 2016, because that was a $264 million worldwide opening. So not only did it beat it, it trounced it. It literally kicked the crap out of the original Deadpool film, and we kind of expected it to be a huge weekend, and I was kind of feeling like it was going to break that worldwide record anyway, but it kicked the damn door down. It's the biggest global opening since Avatar: The Way of Water. That was back in the beginning of the year, or the end of last year, beginning of this year. It made like $439 million. And then it has the highest July opening weekend of all time at the domestic box office. That passes The Lion King, which made like $192 million. And I know, everybody is not as hung up on these numbers as I am, but it makes me happy. It brings me joy, because that means that we are seeing a resurgence in the box office. We're seeing a resurgence in theaters. And I'm excited. I'm just excited for the theaters, because I'm a fan of the movie experience, going to the cinema and going to see a movie. I'm a big fan of that. So this is a push in the right direction, and hopefully that means that the MCU is getting back on track. Even though this movie was more of a farewell to an era, I feel like the MCU could be signaling that we're going in a direction that the fans are going to be more excited for. So, had to talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, because this is a huge weekend for that movie. The 34th consecutive MCU release to debut at #1 at the domestic box office, and it is the #5 highest superhero opening weekend of all time. We talking behind Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man No Way Home, Avengers of Infinity War, and the Avengers. It is in some good company. So I know, like I said, I know everybody don't get geeked out and about these numbers, but this is something that excites me, so I wanted to share it. We're going to get into what happened at Hall H right now. What? You thought they were going to begin their panel without addressing the fact that Deadpool is kicking the shit out of every rated R movie that's ever come before it? No, of course they came in and they talked a little bit about Deadpool and Wolverine, and they did so jumping things off with a choir dressed in the red and yellow robes and singing Madonna's Like a Prayer, which has become kind of the theme song of Deadpool and Wolverine. Okay, so now we've talked about Deadpool and Wolverine. Let's go to what happened next. They jumped everything off with some more information about Captain America: Brave New World. And what they did, they showed the trailer, or an extended cut of the trailer. They showed more footage of Red Hulk. They I think they said they had him hulking out behind a podium during a press conference. Ross hulked out, turned into Red Hulk. So I bet you that was dope. We haven't seen it yet because we didn't go. We didn't go, y'all. So we didn't get to see that. They also expounded a little bit on Giancarlo Esposito's character, and I had said that he was going to be one person, but guess what? He's another person. So Auntie was wrong again. But he is going to be playing a character, I believe, by the name of Sidewinder. And if he's playing Sidewinder, I don't know an awful lot about that character, so I'm going to have to look it up. But what we do know so far is that Sidewinder is the head of the Serpent Society. That is a troupe of snake-themed criminals for hire. Originally known as Seth Velker, an economics professor before Roxxon Oil Company chemically mutated him and gave him the power to teleport, starting his criminal career as Sidewinder. So he initially worked as a hired henchman along Anaconda, Death Adder, and Black Mamba. We know who Giancarlo Esposito is. They leaning really hard into this whole Red Hulk thing, and I'm wondering why they're showing us so much Red Hulk footage. They also have confirmed some of the things that I thought about Tiamat showing up in this trailer, which is that Tiamat is made of pure adamantium, and the world and its leaders want to mine Tiamat for all of its adamantium, because you know that whoever holds the adamantium probably rules the world. So there we are. We've got our filling out a little bit more of a movie, Captain America: Brave New World, which is coming out February 14th, Valentine's Day of 2025. The audience at Comic Con was also treated to a first look of the Thunderbolts movie, and they were explained what the little asterisk means behind Thunderbolts. But it basically, the explanation was, you'll see. That was the explanation. So we'll see. It's said to be basically Florence Pugh's movie, and you know she's playing Yelena Belova, and sister to the original Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, and she is surrounded by a cast of kind of anti-heroes underneath the tutelage of Val. I forgot her last name, but Val. She has been revealed to be the director of the CIA, I think. So she is on a power trip, and she's using them to kind of achieve her goals. That's all I remember about what they talked about as far as the Thunderbolts, and I cannot wait to get an opportunity to see the footage that the attendees of Comic Con saw, because I do want to get a better feel of what to expect in the movie version. We know what the comics version had to offer. The movie version will very likely be something entirely different, and I am ready to kind of sink my teeth into what that is going to be about. We also saw the cast of Fantastic Four, and we got the official title, which is Fantastic Four First Steps. Again, it is set in the 60s. We got this very beautiful first family of the of Marvel. Now, I guess now the MCU, because they're going all the way back to the 1960s to build up their story in an alternate universe, and then all of that is going to transfer over into our main MCU somehow, some way. The somehow, some way is probably going to have something to do with Avengers, the two Avengers movies that will be the culminating acts in these phases that we've just been through. And just like we thought, just like had been reported last week or the week before, one of those, was really recently, the news had come about that the Russos will be returning. They have been confirmed now for sure. They are returning to do two Avengers movies. Of course, we knew about Avengers Secret Wars. That's been their project, their dream project, something that they've been wanting to do ever since long before we had seen Avengers Endgame. They had been talking about wanting to do Secret Wars. We got a title for the movie that is coming before Secret Wars. And yeah, we knew it used to be the Kang Dynasty, and we know what happened there. Doom, 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 doom. Poor Jonathan Majors. He is missing out on a huge payday. But coming before Avengers Secret Wars is Avengers Doomsday. Now let that sink in, because Doomsday, when we're talking Marvel and we say the word doom, we can only be talking about one man, right? One man. And that man is Victor Von Doom. He is one of the most intelligent people on Earth. That's A. Once upon a time colleague of Reed Richards. That's B. C, we know that he's got some magical background, right? That's C. And D, we know that he is the leader of a country called Latveria. What we didn't know is how the MCU was going to introduce us to Doom. And last night, they gave us an introduction that some people had guessed and some people had leaked. But when I heard the leaks, I was like, bullshit, because it sounded like bullshit. But then it turns out that Robert Downey Jr. is returning to the MCU in a villain role to play Victor Von Doom. Now, we don't know how they setting this up. Is this just going to be some kind of variant? Is he going to do like, oh, what is the name of the comic book series that I have not read? It is a comic book series, Infamous Iron Man. Infamous Iron Man. Is he going to be Doom, coming and trying to take the place of a now deceased Tony Stark? Is he going to try to step into that armor and change his reputation, even though we don't know what his current reputation is in the MCU? Because that has an awful lot of implications. And the biggest implications to me is that this story ties in, of course, Victor Von Doom. It ties in, of course, the Fantastic Four. It ties in, of course, Ironheart. It ties in Mephisto. There are a lot of characters that have been on the horizon that are being tied into this infamous Iron Man story, which I need to read. I only have read like synopsis and summaries of it. I need to read the run, but it makes no sense and it makes total sense. So I'm looking so forward to seeing what the hell, huh? Robert Downey Jr. is back, and it makes me wonder. Like, okay, Robert Downey Jr. went off. He got his Oscar. Um, the world has taken him seriously as an actor again, and now he's coming back to where he knows he can make some money because he made some money in the MCU. But of course, people kind of look down their nose at actors who play in comic book movies, especially long-running actors like Robert Downey Jr. was as Tony Stark. But when it comes time to make some money, they know where to come back to, right? They come back home. My only caveat is the audience ready for Robert Downey Jr. to return to the MCU as a different character? And does this make the MCU, Kevin Feige, and everyone associated, does it make us look desperate? There have been a few duds or a few not as well received by the majority of the audience films and series that have been released over the last couple of years. Is this return to what we know works? An act of desperation? So that is a question that I think that we're going to be asking for the next couple of years, because we're not getting Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars until 2026 and 2027. And God, I'm old enough to be like, please let me still be here to watch these movies. But but so we're not getting those movies for a couple of years. We got some things that we have to get through before we get to those big tentpole movies. Again, we're casting older actors in these roles that we are expecting to go on for a couple of years at the absolute least. And I'm wondering if we're making a mistake in the MCU. I don't think so. I am excited to see what Robert Downey Jr. can and will do with Doom, but I know what the greater fandom is going to be saying. I've got my fingers on the pulse of what some of these jerks are thinking, and will they support Robert Downey Jr. playing Doom when everybody thought this was a fitting send-off to the Iron Man character, Tony Stark? Are we ready to see him be somebody else in the MCU? So that's everything I think I had for the Marvel part of San Diego Comic-Con. If there's anything I missed, go ahead, drop those down in the comments below. I'm not going to be upset if you guys caught me slipping. So put it down in the comments if I've missed some things. Also, make sure you subscribe to my channel, like this video, send it off into the multiverse if you think it's worth the catch up. And with all that being said, I'm going to see you in the next one. Peace.